This episode of Rookie Hunter is brought to you by the Wild Sheep Foundation. Adventures in sheep country can change your life, and as residents of BC, we're very fortunate to have 3 different species of sheep in our province. After attending the Wild Sheep Foundation's annual convention, Sheep Show, in Reno, Nevada, we got to see what conservation looks like firsthand. The Wild Sheep Foundation's ability to raise and put millions of dollars on the ground each year to keep these majestic animals on the mountaintops worldwide is unmatched. The Wild Sheep family is a diverse group of people from all walks of life, and membership is open to anyone. Whether you're a seasoned pro, it's your first time on the mountain, or you just like to see sheep on the hillside, you can sign up and join today. Kelly and I are lifetime members, but you can become an annual member for just $45. You can also become a member of the Less Than One Club, which is the only club you want to get kicked out of. If you've never taken a North American or international ram, you can join us in the Less Than One Club for an extra $25. Plus, Less Than One Club membership also includes entry into a draw for 3 separate Dall sheep hunts, which will be given away at Sheep Show in 2019. For more information on the Wild Sheep Foundation and to become a member, head over to thewildsheepfoundation.org.
Hey guys, gals, welcome to episode 89, an official Happy New Year. I know I said that last time, but it was actually 2018 when I recorded that one, so I hope you guys had an awesome time out there. As you'll hear, Kelly and I had some good times. I'm back from holidays. I picked up a bit of a cold, so I apologize for that, but deal with it. This year is the year of the sheep, and a lot of what you're going to hear this year is going to be about getting ready for a sheep hunt. And we're going to take you along on that sheep hunt when it finally happens. So more details on that coming up in this episode. Sheep Show, speaking of sheep, only a couple weeks away. And you can still get yourself registered. There's probably still some rooms at the old Pepper Mill. So we hope to see you guys there. It's going to be an awesome time. Perhaps you got a little cash in your stocking over the holidays. Well, guess what? You can buy yourself a knife from North Arm Knives. Their website, of course, is northarmknives.com. Their knives will be joining us on a northern hunt, of course, as they do on every hunt. We've been using those knives for years now, actually. Those guys have been supporting us for a long time, and we've put them to the ultimate test. We're still using those original knives that we got, and they're sharp as hell. You just got to take care of them, and they'll take care of you. northarmknives.com, go check them out. I'm going to stop talking. Let's get into this episode. Sit back, relax, crack a cold beer, and enjoy episode 89 of Rookie Hunter. The Italian plague.
Well, I heard you were sick over there. Your mom said something to my parents at the hockey game or something.
Man, got real sick.
What happened?
Well,
too much booze on the plane?
No, like everybody there was just coughing all over everybody. Like everybody was sick, man. It was crazy.
Wow.
Lots of other tourists we talked to, like everybody was kind of fighting this horrendous cold. And when we were in Bologna, which was sort of like the place that Ashley and I were really looking forward to going to, was like a highlight. We had booked a full day food tour and stuff like that. So the night that we got there, I could tell this cold was coming on. So we went out for dinner. I was like feeling like shit. I'm like, whatever, I'm on vacation. I'm just going to make the most of it and just push through it. So we finished dinner and then walked home, and I just like totally fell apart basically. And got a crazy fever. It was up all night. You know how like you have like the weirdest dreams and shit like that when you've got a fever and you're sweating and you're cold, and it was like the worst night of my life. And then the next morning we had the food tour booked, and I woke up and I'm like, I can't fucking go. I felt like I had the worst hangover ever. Like that's just how I felt. So like I'm getting ready. I'm trying to like put cold water on my face and psych myself up because this food tour, like I said, was kind of like a highlight, and it was pretty expensive too. So we're getting closer and closer. They're picking us up just after 7:00 in the morning. And so we go outside to meet the driver. And basically there was like a 2-minute period where like, if this guy doesn't show up right now, I'm fucking going back in the house, and I'm not going like Ashley can go because I don't want to be a downer on this trip. So I ended up, whatever, the van pulled up right as I was ready to kind of pull the plug on. I'm like, okay, here we go. So there's already, it turned out they actually decide what nationalities get paired up with each other. So that's a whole other story. But we got in a van full of Australians, which was pretty awesome in the end. So anyways, the van picks us up. Everybody's already in there. We were the last ones to get picked up. There's one seat in the back of the van and there's one in the front. So Ashley hops up in the front and I'm sitting in a seat that's facing backwards. So you're looking, you know how that is when you're not feeling good, right?
Yeah.
So like, oh God. And I didn't know how far out. So we went to this region outside of Bologna, sort of like countryside stuff where all the farming and everything happens. And as we get going, I'm starting to feel like I'm going to die. So I'm like dripping sweat. I had my jacket on. So
it's worse when you don't have an escape plan too. Right?
Yeah, it was like all I could do is be like, hey, pull over right now because I'm going to throw up. So
yeah.
I'm like trying to be a champ. Everybody's talking and stuff like that. I'm not saying anything. So like, what's up with this guy? And yeah, I start just dripping sweat. So I'm taking my jacket off. I'm undoing my hoodie. I'm like just trying to get as much air as I can. I'm leaning forward and nobody's like commenting on like, what's up with this guy or anything. They're all kind of just looking at me like this guy's going to throw up in the van. He's super hungover. Anyways, I'm like this close to throwing up. And we pull up to the first location, which is a place where they make Parmigiano cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Jump out of the van. I didn't throw up. I was like cooled off because it was a nice cool morning and like, okay, I made it. Like that was the longest part of the drive. I think it was like a good 45-minute drive or something like that. So it was like
windy roads
struggle. They weren't too bad, but again, facing backwards and that, and it was horrible. So is
this a place that makes the Parmesan cheese that's on, have you seen Netflix? It's called Salt, Fire, Acid, and something.
Probably. It's like Parmigiano Reggiano or whatever is what it is. Big, yeah.
And
do
they do it all with like the blankets and stuff? Like
we got to see the whole process, which was cool. So those guys were in there and I think they make like 75 wheels of cheese per day. And you have to age them for a minimum of like 18 months or something like that. So it's a long process and they can get like declined at the end. There's very strict inspections because it has to meet this very strict standard to get the stamp on the cheese, right?
You got to hit it with a mallet.
Yeah, they test it and everything like that. So it's pretty wild. But again, still not feeling that good. And of course, you go into a cheese place, so it smells like fucking cows and dank shit and everything. But as the day went on, I started to get better and better. So I made it through the whole cheese tour. The next one we went to was balsamic vinegar, which was cool. This was really old farm. They showed us the whole process of how they transfer all the balsamic vinegar from barrel to barrel and how it's aged. And some of this stuff is like unbelievably old. They keep adding to it. But there's this whole process where they transfer from a bigger barrel to a smaller barrel, and it kind of goes through the whole chain. I won't get into all those details, but so we get through that tour. And it's like they do an Italian breakfast. So the wine comes out and it was like a sparkling wine. I'll look up, I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but I'll look it up. Really good wine. I'm like, you know what? Like maybe something with a bit of fizz to it's going to make me feel better. So had a few glasses of wine. They actually had some ricotta from the cheese place, like fresh. It's sort of like a leftover thing from making the cheese. So they had that and poured balsamic vinegar over top of it. That was like this 20-year-old balsamic vinegar from this farm and slowly started to feel better. I think that's part of, even if you're hungover, if you're feeling like shit, you have to force yourself to eat something, right? Mm-hmm. Slowly starting to feel better and better and better. And as everyone's had some wine and stuff, they start to loosen up. They're like, so are you super hungover or what? Because they're all watching me struggle throughout the morning and just laughing that this Canadian guy's drank too much the night before or whatever. So I had to explain that I wasn't feeling that great. So the next part of the tour is actually a prosciutto place. And again, it's this DOP certification. Everything in this region has to be done a very specific way, which is kind of cool because it's like, it's very regional. The cows can only be milked twice a day. They have a very strict diet of what they feed them, on and on and on. Same thing with the pigs. They're actually fed some of the leftover stuff from the cheese making That's part of the pig's diet because it makes them fat. So they have to be, all the animals need to be happy animals. They need to be killed humanely and all that kind of stuff. So it all really resonated. So we got to go to this prosciutto place. I hope I'm probably butchering.
It's like bruschetta.
Yeah.
So when we went over there, we're like, yeah, can we get some bruschetta?
Bruschetta.
And then I thought he was going to slap me. He's like, it's bruschetta.
Yeah.
They're not shy.
The C is like a K. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pistachio tours that they were calling it. Anyways.
Yeah.
So we got to sample some of the prosciutto at the end of it, more wine again, and then they have what they call an Italian lunch that we go for, which an Italian lunch is like a massive
Espresso?
dinner. Oh no, it was just food. Like, so you got your like your starter.
Yeah.
Then you have your first course, which is 2 different pastas. Then you have even before that, there was like a soup that we had. And then, man, the food just kept coming and coming and coming. I think it ended up being like 20 bottles of wine or something that we got through. So by the end of this thing, I had completely come back to life, had the best time ever out there and survived and actually like I still have a bit of the cold left over, but felt great after that. So
crazy.
that's how you cure the Italian plague. You just drink and eat like crazy.
You just overpower it.
Yeah.
Starting with cheese.
I just remembered what the wine is called, Cal.
What?
Lambrusco.
Lambrusco.
Yeah.
Lambo.
Yeah. Anyways, it was a good wine, and all that everything was from the region. All the food that we ate, all the wine and stuff like that. So
cool.
Awesome time. So long story short, I feel much better, and that day cured me.
Yeah.
And I was so close to not going, so I lucked out, man.
Nice. You got to push through
pulled
sometimes.
through. Yeah.
There's nothing worse than being sick when you're traveling, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's terrible, man.
Yeah.
And then so I had to go down to like the pharmacy, and they didn't speak any English in there. So before I went in there, I had like Google Translate app, and I was like looking up all these words and shit to say to them, and it all worked out anyways. And they gave me some stuff, but yeah, it was brutal. So they picked us up at just after 7 a.m. After the tour was done, I think we ended up, the Italian breakfast went on until like 6:30, and we were out on this beautiful patio, and just, it's sort of a gimmicky thing they do, but they have like a big sword, and we're cutting all the tops off the Lambrusco bottles and all that kind of stuff. So we talked him into letting us stay longer, and then we ended up taking the guide out for drinks after that too. So we didn't get home until like 12 o'clock that night. It's pretty wild.
Cool.
Just got to stay away from those Australians. They're
Yeah.
bad news. But it is funny that they pair people up based on nationality, because there was another van. It was all American folks. They were awesome too. But we were with the Australians for the majority of it.
I feel like Canadians and Australians mix pretty well.
Yeah, and apparently they Kiwis, they'll link the 3 of us up. We're pretty compatible, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, man. Anyways, it was a good trip.
Yeah, I think everybody's got to go over there at least once.
Yeah, just the whole food side of it, man. Anybody who hunts will appreciate what they're doing over there as far as food goes.
Did you have any conversations with anybody about hunting, or do they have anything like that? I didn't see it.
No, I don't know. I didn't really. None of the situations I were in really lended it to that topic. Yeah. But Ashley's up in the front of that tour van, and she's telling the tour guide that we shot a bear and stuff like that. And so they're all like, "No way!" Like, from a foreign perspective, even the Australians are like, "Oh, that's crazy!" Like bears, they'll rip your face off. Like, how do you hunt a bear?
How do you shoot it before that?
Yeah, exactly. So it was kind of fun just to explain that. And they were like super intrigued by it. And it was kind of cool because we were a ways into the food tour. So it was very relevant conversation to everything we had been through that day.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
We actually got an email today. Somebody was listening. Jake was listening to the bear podcast that we did, the two-parter.
Cool. Yeah.
And he was saying that in the second half, he's like, "Oh, you guys nailed it," because like it was very raw, like the silence and
right.
A lot of people have been in that situation before, so he
was having
gave
PTSD.
us some kudos for that one. Yeah.
Nice.
So speaking of bear hunts, but yeah, back safe and sound.
Made it. Yeah. Fuck yeah! It
Nice.
felt like I was gone for like a month, man. It's crazy. There's
Yeah.
just so much to see, so much to do, and we weren't like pushing ourselves to do more than we needed to. It was just so much shit to see, man. So
Yep.
much history, and every corner you go around, you're like, oh, look at that! Like that thing's
Yeah.
2,000 years old. It's just
Yeah.
still standing there.
Was
Pretty-
it Anthony Bourdain that said traveling's just figuring out where you're going to eat next?
Yeah,
So I think it was him, but I kind
That's
of feel like that, right? Like that's what it's all about. Is you get up, you get ready, you walk out the door, and I just like not knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah,
but
that's-
you always try to find like the best place to eat, or
Yeah.
the best place to have coffee, or
Yeah.
the best gelato, or
it was cool, man, because we did a bit of research on, for each day we had sort of, a couple of things that we wanted to see or a certain restaurant we wanted to go to. And the day was sort of just an adventure to get to those spots. So no planning in between, not really looking at a map, having a rough idea of where we're heading and just seeing what we found along the way. And you see so much cool stuff, man, just from wandering around.
Yep.
I was tracking how many kilometers we were doing. We're doing anywhere from 14 to 20 kilometers a day of walking.
yeah. We did a
So-
lot in Rome, I remember, because
Yeah.
we kept getting lost.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I don't know, it was the map I had, I think. That's my excuse, but it
Mhm.
wasn't to scale at all. So I was like, hey, we got to head this way, but the whole city's a big circle,
Yeah.
right? So I don't know, for some reason, like I was just missing the streets.
Yeah. It's not easy. I was using, I just downloaded offline maps for Google Maps.
Mm.
So you can, save a few points on your map and you can very easily
Yeah,
get around that
get
way. So
around
you get a
wherever.
sense of the direction you're going.
Yeah.
Put the phone away and then just kind of check every 20 minutes to see if you're still on the right track or not. And it doesn't
Yeah.
really matter if you fall off it because,
Yeah.
again, there's this cool stuff everywhere. So,
Nice. Can't really walk across the street in Rome unless there's a nun in front of you. Did you find that?
Yeah,
People
yeah.
just laying on the horn.
yeah.
And then if you get across one lane and the guy goes behind you, and then the next lane starts laying on the horn.
Yeah.
Like they don't all stop and
I
wait.
was driving that Maserati through
Oh yeah,
Rome.
you had that. You sent me that picture.
Fucking nightmare driving, like through the countryside, and everything was fine. But as soon as we got to Rome, I'm like, I want to get rid of this car right now. This isn't fun anymore, man. Because there's not even road lines, and we got
No.
there, it was dark, so like just chaos. There's people
Yeah.
stepping out on the corner and cars going everywhere, people honking. I'm like, oh, this is the
Yeah.
worst.
We got off the train station in Rome and hopped onto the public transit,
Yeah,
like the buses,
Yeah.
and they're just ripping on those cobblestones.
yeah,
And just there's 100 people in the bus and it's shaking. I'm like, these buses probably last 3 months max.
yeah, man. just,
Just-
loosens everything.
Oh
man.
yeah, just
Yeah.
shaking the shit out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no lines, no. I mean, the roads have been there for how many hundreds of years?
Yeah.
It's crazy,
Yeah, it's nuts.
thousands, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Pretty
yeah,
well. So happy New Year, man.
yeah, you too,
We've got
and
some-
everybody.
Yeah, and everybody. This is the episode we put out last week. I guess you put it up last week, right?
Mhm.
We recorded that well before Christmas. So this is the first official recording of 2019. We've got a pretty badass year coming up, Cal.
Yeah, brand new year, new hunts planned. Well, one in particular,
Yeah.
which we've already alluded to a bit,
We have.
but it's getting more concrete.
Yeah. So for you guys that are listening, I hope you're interested in sheep hunting because this year is, we'll see how it goes. But a lot of what this show is going to be about in 2019 is us getting ready for this hunt. So lots of gear topics, lots of prep, lots of talking to professionals that know what they're doing. So we're going to try and redeem ourselves on this northern BC hunt.
Mhm.
And we're going to put a lot of time into it and really focus the show on the whole adventure because I think you guys are going to enjoy it, hopefully. And so we've got a few things sort of locked in, Kelly. Dates?
August 18th to the 31st.
Transportation?
Plane.
Get flown into some lake. We're still trying to decide what lake we're going to land in. We've sort of got it narrowed down, but we actually have to book it this week. So by the end of the week here, we're going to know exactly where we're going.
Yeah, I mean, we have, I think it's between two lakes right now, but yeah, I would say unless something drastic happens, like we have a conversation with somebody or whatever, and,
Yeah.
and we really like what we're hearing.
Yeah.
But I think we've already talked to a few people and we're pretty confident on this one area.
Mhm. Yeah. At a certain point, you just have to settle on one,
Yeah.
knowing that there is some sheep around for
Yeah.
sure. But
And they're all amazing.
yeah.
So
Focus is going to be sheep. Halfway through the hunt, moose will open up. There's going to be some options for caribou. So there's other things we can do too if for some reason we have to change gears, which is always a possibility, as we've found out from other hunts. It could be weather. It could be lack of actual sheep.
and goat,
Mm-hmm.
right? There must be some goat opportunities.
I was just looking. I didn't see any actually.
Oh,
Not
okay.
for that spot anyways. But
Okay. I can do a little research on that one.
mm-hmm.
But that would be cool.
Yeah.
Because goat habitat, sheep habitat, kind of same.
Definitely. So
You kind of see one or the other.
for sure.
So the big thing right now, which we talked about too, is fitness. So we're going to talk a lot about fitness in the new year.
Yeah.
Setting goals.
I think the main thing, which we were sort of just talking about before we started recording, is like everybody's just got to be comfortable, right? So
Mhm.
we all have to set individual goals that will allow us to go out there and feel good. Because I think,
Yeah.
if I know that you're feeling good and confident, and I'm confident, and vice versa for everybody in the group, right?
Yeah.
we can eliminate all those question marks.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely about putting the work in. And you can't really be comfortable unless you're doing something to test yourself in a similar situation. So we were just talking a little bit. One thing I did, kind of a Christmas present, was I got one of those Concept 2 rowers.
Yep.
Which I did want to get a cardio machine. I did. And I didn't know which one to get. And
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time researching. Rowing was actually like the last one I looked at.
Yeah.
I was originally thinking like, a treadmill, especially in the winter when you can't really get outside as easily or it's icy. Maybe a bike, that something when I can't ride my bike in the summer. Going back and forth on that forever. And then I stumbled across this rower, which is like the reviews are insane on this thing.
Cool.
And like Olympians use it for training and all that kind of stuff. So long story short, bought that. And I've been doing a lot of research, like technique, and I found out that it's 60% legs, 30% back, 10% arms.
Nice.
Which is for me like perfect recipe.
Yeah.
And I work in an office, so it gets the lower back involved, and I feel great. I've been doing it for 2 weeks now, like every second day, and then some weights and a little bit of running in between, and I love it so far.
Nice.
And downstairs, like I said, I throw some vinyl on and listen to some tunes. I do. I remember you saying that, we all have this picture of the mountains on our phone, same photo from our trip.
Yeah.
And as soon as I start thinking about August, it's a no brainer. Like, it doesn't take me any effort at all to get on that machine or to go for a run or whatever. Like, it's real. It's real now.
Yeah.
Right. And this is when it has to start. We're even a little bit late, really. Like, in terms of a full blown plan, 12 months would be, I think, optimal.
Yeah. I don't know. I think we'll be good.
Yeah. I mean, we're younger and we're in pretty good shape, so I'm not too worried. But I think mixed in with that, it would be good to do throw the pack on with 50 pounds or 60 pounds and then go, 10 kilometers or go to the top of a mountain.
Yeah.
I think that has to happen like intermittently as you get closer to that date, because that's literally what you're going to be doing. So it's a good test.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's kind of my plan from now until August.
Nice. Sweet. No, I got to get caught up to you. I'm just a gelatinous pig from all the pasta and booze I've been consuming over the last 2 weeks here. So I've got the bench and the weights and stuff now. So as soon as I got back, I just got on that as a way to try and fight some of this jet lag. We got hit pretty hard on this way back for some reason, and went to yoga for the first time yesterday, which felt great.
Mm-hmm.
It's been quite a while. It's just because holidays and being gone for 2 weeks. So that was good. I'm actually feeling sore today, which is a good sign of all the stuff I've been doing over the last few days since I got home. So that feels good. And I'm hoping to go for a run and get back into that tonight too. So
nice.
Yeah. Still thinking about doing that 50K ultra.
Yeah.
So
I'm probably going to do the mech races in 2019 too.
Yeah, that ultra is part of it actually.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So they're only doing 3 this year actually.
Is it pick your distance again? Like 5, 10, 25?
Yeah.
Okay.
And 50 for that one.
Cool.
That's the only one where there's a ultra. I think the other ones are probably, I don't know actually. I haven't really looked, but yeah, it's kind of cool that there's all the different ranges you can do.
Yeah.
So those are added incentives to really get in shape too. If I'm going to be running long distances, I want to run into some of the areas that we hunt. So I'm kind of going there throughout the year, which will be kind of cool to just be scouting and in those areas when we're not really and seeing what's going on.
Yeah.
I mainly want to be checking out the black bear situation because there's one spot in particular, you know, where I'm talking about, where I'd like to hike in and get a bear.
Yeah.
Either in the spring or in September or whatever. So I want to kind of get a feel for what's happening in there as soon as spring rolls around, and it'll be cool.
Yeah, that's a good test too.
Yeah.
Well, there's a couple, I mean, we've been talking about this sheep hunt and a couple questions have popped up. Like one of them that we could summarize a bit is the mode of transportation.
Yeah.
Like jet boat and plane.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on the difference between those two,
Well,
or the pros and cons?
Well, I think Garrett and I were just talking before you got here, and I think both of us want to do a plane from just a pure experience.
Yeah, like nothing to do with the hunt,
Yeah.
really, just to be able to go
Just
and
do
fly.
it. And
yeah,
Garrett was a helicopter mechanic for a long time, and he knows all about this beaver that we're going to be taking in. He's super pumped about it. And,
Yeah.
So I think there's just something about going in a float plane, getting dropped off at a lake, and seeing that thing take off.
Mhm.
There's no backing out at that point.
Yeah.
If you're near the river and there's a jet boat, you know, that runs there, there's always like, you
Mhm.
know, that option is always kind of there where there's just some sort of feeling of like, all right, here we are. It's just us.
Yeah.
And there
Yeah, I
goes,
agree with that.
Yeah. So it's, yeah,
And then you get that view going in, right?
totally.
Like,
You get to see kind of what you're getting into, and the mountains up there are obviously going to be unbelievable to see from a plane, and get that bird's eye view of the area that you're going to be hunting in will be pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and one of the things that we're kind of bouncing around, just pros and cons, and I think we'll probably try to do boat one day too, and hope maybe horse one day too.
Yeah,
And,
exactly,
like it'd be
yeah.
nice to try a lot of things. As far as plane goes, the one thing we were a bit concerned about is kind of everybody going to the same lake, because you're basically all getting dropped off at lakes and then you're going out from there.
Yeah.
And with jet boat, there's kind of a similar concern because everybody's going up the same river.
Yeah.
And then the difference being that you can kind of get out at multiple stages along the river, and some of these rivers are super long.
mhm.
So that was one of the things, is you might be able to get into some areas where you won't stumble across any hunters on the jet boat side of things. Cost between the plane and the jet boat, it seemed like potentially the jet boat was a little bit pricier.
Yeah.
You kind of pay more of a per person rate.
Yeah.
Whereas with the plane, you're
It's a
all kind of
fixed
going in.
Right. Depending on weight. Yeah.
Yeah, and miles. The other thing too, with a plane, I guess you have a chance at delays if weather's bad.
Yep.
In and out.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas jet boat, I would assume, unless there's like a drastic change in water levels,
Yeah.
that's pretty stable.
Yeah.
And then with plane, obviously, you have your weight restrictions. But we kind of have an interesting number. We have 3 guys, so it's a little much, or at least right on the borderline of the smaller plane.
Yeah.
And then once you start getting to the bigger one, it almost seems like then we have a lot of room to do kind of whatever we want.
Well, that's what Garrett and I were just talking about. We're like, man, we could bring the Yeti up there.
Yeah.
We can bring
Put some
extras.
dry ice or
Yeah,
something.
totally. Have
Yeah.
that. Leave that at the lake. We'll have the teepee tent. We can hang that up in a tree. Leave that down there too.
Yeah.
Just have some extra supplies. Why not? If you're paying to have that weight, might as well bring some stuff along. And how nice would it be to have the Yeti and some dry ice, and it removes some of the stress of, especially because we're going to be in August. If it's hot,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter. We throw this thing in the cooler. It's going to be good for quite a while, right? I would assume.
I agree.
So, just nice to to be able to bring a few extra things to make the hunt more comfortable and remove some of the risk of meat spoilage and all that. So
Yeah. So, I mean, that's one thing we've been bouncing around. I do agree that the plane is probably the best, especially for a first time to go in and experience that. And then, we could always talk about other methods down the road and try other things. But it'll be pretty cool. The other thing that we've been thinking a lot about is shelters, which we touched base a couple episodes ago, I think. So I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
Solo tents or everybody in the same tent?
I think we just bring one tent.
We did the single tent thing with the teepee, which it worked out. Yeah. Although that's a big teepee. That's the 8-man, right? I've had some feedback from folks I've talked to saying that they won't do the tent with people or clients anymore. They kind of like to have their own.
Yeah, I
solo
saw that
tents.
guy's message.
But
I get that too, but it's kind of like, I don't know.
Then you got to get a tent it feels like in the 3-pound or less range.
Yeah.
Which some of them start getting pretty light, I think.
And part of it too, man, is like, we've talked about this. It'd be nice to be able to use that tent for other stuff. Like taking the wives out. If we go, Ashley and I do quite a bit of backpacking. So
yeah, I mean,
it's nice if I can be like, hey, I bought this really expensive tent, but guess what? You can actually use it too. Everything else I seem to bring home is like hunting only. And she's like, oh, that's cool that you got that.
No, I was thinking only from a hunting utility perspective, but that's something else that we can, every trip we go, we'll get more and more experience and we'll see what we like the best. Although I didn't mind the teepee arrangement with everybody in it. Like it's fun times too. Like
that's what I was
everybody's so tired anyways that you're probably going to fall asleep in the first half an hour.
Yeah.
But that first half an hour is kind of fun too, because you get to do a little bit of, laughing and if you have some vodka and Crystal Light or something. And we also did a little bit of podcasting too. So
yeah, no, I think I agree with that, man. And if I had clients, I wouldn't want to share a tent with a client. But when it's, the 3 of us and we've already done this and shared accommodations out there, it is fun, man. And especially if we get bogged down with weather, I'd rather just play cards in a tent with everybody than lay in my own tent and stare at the ceiling for a full day. That's not that fun.
Just kind of yelling through the tent walls at everybody.
So
I agree. I think there's a couple pros maybe for bringing your solo tent up there if it's super light and you don't have to worry about big footprints and you can set it up wherever you want, like on a single rock if you wanted to. But I think we'll spend a little more time just trying to find the right spot to throw that thing on the ground and a little bit of comfort.
In an ideal,
a bad thing.
In an ideal world, you have 3 tents. You've got 3 different, footwear options for different hunts. You got 3 different backpack options for day hunts and longer. Like, you know what I mean, man? You could get crazy with equipment and there's always going to be something that's better for a different situation. But I think if we can cover every situation with one tent or whatever object you're talking about, just kind of makes sense at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
The other cool thing about the plane and the outfit that we're going to use to get flown in is there's a hotel right there. So when we leave, we're getting up and we're getting right on the plane.
Mm-hmm.
There's no driving. And then the flip side of that, when we get back, plane is pulling right up to the hotel and we can just go hang out. And I'm sure they've got a bar in there and stuff like that. So everybody knows what it feels like.
Water.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. Everybody knows what it feels like to come out of the bush after a long trip and have a cold beer and something and a burger or whatever, man. It's pretty good.
We talked a lot too about time of year, like August versus September. And if we don't think about scheduling, like, if you could go at any time, the one thing was the later you go, potentially there's a little bit less smoke risk and a couple more game options open up. I don't know what it is, but there's just something that attracts me a little bit to that, like August sheep hunt. And I don't know why, because I know there's challenges with it. I know there's temperature's a challenge.
Bugs.
Water's potentially a challenge, bugs. And we'll probably be there when some of those new species open up, like you said. But I don't know, there's just something that attracts me to that time of year up there.
It's going to be cool.
Maybe it's just because I've seen too many like Kuyu and Sitka pictures.
Right.
And they kind of all go up for opener a lot of the time. But there's just something about being up there.
The days are going to be long too.
Yeah, longer days. So I don't know. I'm really pumped about that August time frame.
Yeah. Somebody reached out to us and was saying like you can hunt till like 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Some guys that are hunting like, when you're that far up north, depending on what time you're there, you can pretty much hunt right around the clock.
Yeah, which is awesome because if you are in a situation where you have a base camp, wherever it is, you have more time to go up and back and or whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
I guess we'll figure that out more when we know exactly where we're going.
Because it's probably up in the Yukon, but I've heard guys, chasing rams at 4 a.m. I'm like, what? Yeah, I guess that makes sense because the sun pretty much just does not go down up there. So,
So, I'm looking forward to that.
It will be different for sure. There's something about September that attracts me just because it's that change of season. It starts to get a little bit cooler, you know what I mean? And
the colors. And,
yeah. And I do worry about smoke, but I don't know. Whatever it is what it is. We'll deal with whatever.
I think too that beginning of September, if there's going to be smoke, it'll probably be there beginning of September too. Like, I don't know. It's kind of hit and miss.
Yeah. Well,
I heard that last year was really bad, but the years previous were all pretty good.
Yeah.
So
there's no way to predict any of this stuff. So
no,
we just got to go.
I wonder if that's one advantage of flying. If you're flying into a lake and it just looks like a complete, smoke show in there.
Yeah.
Is it possible to have a backup lake that you could
maybe
go in the other direction, or they may know kind of where the wind's coming up those valleys and they might be able to help us with a second option.
Mm-hmm. And the thing about smoke too is that can, the wind changes and that can blow it right out overnight, but you could be stuck in it too. So I don't know.
Well, that's why they call it Rookie Hunter.
Yeah. Well, I think what we're talking about is just something you can't avoid. It doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
It's the uncontrolled elements that you just have to deal with and come up with a plan once you're in it. But
maybe we can have it work for us.
Yeah. We'll see. It'd be nice. There's a bit of weight on this one. And we always talk about defining success and what that means. And our original trip up north, I still don't call it a sheep hunt. You still like to call it a sheep hunt, but
the goal was sheep.
The goal was sheep, but I refer to that as our first northern hunt. We weren't successful in getting meat, but there was that trip I would say was a full blown success, and that's kind of the way I'm going into this one too. But it really makes it difficult when you're going up there spending all this money, thousands of dollars, which is cheap if you think about guys who have to come up and hire a guide and everything like that. And that, so it's not that expensive. If I'm sure there's guys in the States listening to this right now and laughing at what we have to pay. But anyways, there's that attached to it. And the fact that we've been up before and didn't come home with any meat, that puts a little bit of extra weight on this one to come home with something.
Yep. A lot of folks have said sheep hunting's a marathon. Like, I don't think it's a sprint. So I think we have to be smart about being able to keep going.
Yep.
Without burning yourself out the first day.
Yep.
But also mentally knowing that we have to keep going, like that we're going to have to probably go a ways and just kind of planning that out a little bit. I've heard a couple podcasts, I can't remember who it was now, but they were saying that they kind of burnt themselves out the first couple days. They did the third day they kind of made it to where they wanted to. The third day there was a glassing day.
Yeah.
And the fourth day, they kind of got back into more of exploring. The sixth day was more of a glassing day. I don't know. I don't know how that would work practically, but it does seem like we're going to have to, we're going to be there for 10 days. So we got to make sure that we're not burning ourselves out in certain areas too.
Yeah, for sure.
So that'll be a learning curve.
Yep.
The marathon mentality.
Yeah, for sure.
I that's the one thing I learned in the last hunt. I'm not going to call it a sheep hunt then.
Oh, nice.
No, I think it was a sheep hunt for the first 3 days. Then it just wasn't.
I
But
don't know.
we, on the way back, it was like, oh, we actually did this pretty quick.
Hiking out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's something that I'm carrying with me going up here is, some of these distances seem when you first see it in those types of areas, it's like, holy cow, that's a long ways.
Yeah.
You just got to put your head down and go.
Yeah.
So
I would agree.
it's just a little shocking when you haven't been to those types of mountains before, right?
Mm-hmm. Most definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy following along this year. I'm excited to talk to a bunch of different folks and take you guys with us on this hunt because we're going to record the whole damn thing.
And we'll take the Zoom up with us.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Maybe we'll even get a shot like we did with the bear hunt on audio.
I hope so. Yeah. If we're going to draw straws, and that'll determine who's shooting or not, and whoever's not.
Mm-hmm.
What I had was for that bear hunt was I just put the Zoom into my bino harness and just holding it. So we'll just have to walk around with that thing on record all the time, so it's ready to rock and roll. Because not only is it cool for people to hear, but for us to listen back to that and know that we've captured your first bear through audio. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely.
I think.
Yeah. Speaking of the bear, I still haven't got the hide back yet, but I think it's getting close. I did phone them.
Heard that before.
I didn't know it took so long. And if you're going to get a full-blown rug, it takes quite a while. Like it could take up to a year or so.
Shit.
So
Crazy.
Yeah, it's a process.
I was going through my freezer and kind of looking at what I had in there. I actually don't have that much deer meat left. I was surprised. But I only have a couple packs of sausages left too from the bear.
Yeah, I only have one pack.
Yeah.
I gave some to Bree's dad.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Did he try them or?
Yeah, actually, so when I went back to the Kootenays for the holidays there, we went fishing and I did some bottom fishing and we were catching like 2-3 pounders.
Nice.
It's awesome fishing down there in the winter. But we always have a fire and then people bring sausages and stuff. So I brought the bear sausage and it was a hit. Like there's 8 guys there and they're all hunters. The one guy, other Randy, who I think I've mentioned this, but he went on a solo grizzly bear hunt. And he's like 60 years old with his recurve.
No, Jesus.
And he got one.
That's fucking crazy.
Solo. So just, lots of experience there. But anyways, everybody liked that sausage and good conversation. They were like, yeah, we don't understand why more people aren't hunting bear these days. The meat's some of the best you can get. So there's a lot of myths that hopefully, I think we did our part. That bear went a long way in having some good conversation. So I think it was a success.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's cool.
Guess
Only
what?
have one pack left and I'm going to save it for something special.
We should bring it up north.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
First night on the
Deal.
on the lake.
Yep.
Sweet. That sounds good. Well, I think I've covered enough for this one, or we've covered enough.
Yep.
don't
I
know.
guess just listeners keep their ears peeled and we'll have a lot more information coming.
Yeah, if there's anything that you guys want us to talk about specifically, we're all ears. Instagram is the best way to track us down. And if you have tips or advice or questions or any of that stuff, we're all ears. So make sure you get in touch. And should be a fun year, man.
Definitely.
Lots to look forward to.
Oh yeah. I'm pumped.
Sheep Show is only like a couple weeks away too.
Oh yeah, sheep show. That's going to be a good time.
I'm sure it will
It
be.
always is.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah. So we'll see some of you guys there.
Yep. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Let us know if you're coming. But let's get the hell out of here.
Okay.
Happy New Year, guys. Cheers.
Cheers.
This episode of Rookie Hunter was also brought to you by North Arm Knives. North Arm Knives are handcrafted and sold directly through a father and son team right here in British Columbia. Choose from a selection of outdoor knives, kitchen knives, and custom engravings from NorthArmKnives.com. They ship internationally and guarantee all of their work. Kelly and I have put their products to the ultimate test and give them our stamp of approval. Head over to NorthArmKnives.com.